Hello and welcome to the Jocelyn Moore Show. I'm your host, Jocelyn Moore, and as always, we're here to inform, inspire, and entertain with dynamic conversations that matter. In a world shaped by exceptional educators, we are truly grateful to shine a spotlight on those who lead the way. Get ready as we explore the powerful intersection of education and authorship. Brought to you through the unique lens of a National Board Certified teacher whose passion for learning shapes young minds and inspires the next generation of thinkers and creators. Today we have with us TC McFarland, a graduate from Howard University with a Bachelor of Science degree in Human Development. TC is a National Board Certified teacher, a dedicated mother, grandmother, certified life coach, and self-published author based in the DMV. With strong Southern roots, TC combines her passion for education with her storytelling, her talent for storytelling, focusing on the social and emotional challenges that shape our lives.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Me too. Okay, let's get started. First question is, what inspired you to become a National Board Certified teacher?
To become a National Board Certified teacher is the ability to move from state to state without having to be recertified. That's the first thing. The second thing, what really inspired me was the income. In Prince George's County, if you are at a high need school, meaning like socioeconomic disparity and disadvantages, you are given an additional salary. And that salary is $22,000 that's added onto your income. Whatever you're making at the time, once you achieve the National Board Certification, they will add the money to your salary, and it goes with it ties into your retirement. And I mean, it's a win-win situation. They normally give you 3 years to get your national board certification, but I did it in 6 months. I started in December of 2022 and I finished in January. I mean, I'm sorry, not January. I finished in June of 2023. So it took me 6 months to complete the 4 components. And that's only because I was focused and determined to get it done.
6 months, that's a short time.
It is a very short time, but I was truly focused and made sure I had my data and did everything that I was supposed to do. So it really fell into place. It was very stressful. I'm not going to even sit here and tell you that it wasn't. It was extremely stressful, but it fell into place.
Did you go crazy at one point? Like, can I finish this? Can I do it?
My hair fell out. Yeah. So it was stressful. Yeah. And there were times when the custodial staff kicked me out the building because I was there working on my data, working on assessments. And yeah, they were like, it's time to go. Yeah. So I spent some late nights in the schoolhouse.
If you had a chance, would you do it over again?
I would. I would. I would. Just to know that it can be done. And actually, after I achieved my certification, I end up having two mentees that did it in a short time frame as well and achieved their national board certification. So it can be done, but you just have to focus.
How has it influenced your teaching, and can you give some day-to-day examples with students?
It influenced my teaching because it taught me, it allowed me to reflect on my teaching practices and really get to know my students past them being a student, but just a person. Knowing their backgrounds, what make them tick, their family, even their learning styles. And something, we're supposed to know learning styles, but it forced me to go a little bit deeper into knowing their learning styles. And then with that, I've always believed in collaborative planning, collaborative grouping, but now even more, I find that with my students, they work better when they work together as groups. So I love the group work and assigning roles and really seeing them work together, socialize, talk to complete projects, and just explore learning on a whole different level. And we do that on a daily basis. They're in groups every day, and they have the same groups every day.
Oh, the same groups. So smaller groups always the best.
Yes. So I have anywhere from 4 to 5 students in per group.
Are there any misconceptions people might have about the certification process that you would like to set straight?
Misconception is that is hard. So hard is not the word that we should use. It is tedious, it is time consuming, and it's a long process,
Mhm.
but hard is not the word because this is what we should be doing every day anyway. We should be teaching, we should be reflecting, we should be doing differential learning. All this should be we are doing. So it's not hard, and it's funny that you talked about that because in Prince George's County there are approximately 10,000 teachers, and less than 1,000 teachers have their national board certification. So we're talking about less than 10% of our teachers that have their national board. Because a lot of times people say it's time consuming. Yes, it is time consuming. But is it hard? No, it's not hard.
So you think that every teacher should be uh national board certified?
I think every teacher should go through the process because it does help you become a better teacher. It does help you gain knowledge of your students and their families. It it does help you explore different formative assessments, summative assessments. Like it broadens your knowledge of the pedagogies of teaching. So everyone should explore the national board.
Do you think it'll ever become mandatory for teachers?
Yes. I think so. And the reason why I say that because a lot of a lot of future teachers, the work that they're doing in college is really based on national board. Not only that, we have a evaluation system in place with Prince George's County that's called Framework, and it's based off of Framework for Teaching, right? That process, when you look at it, is the national board process. You're already doing it. So when I actually did my national board, I was actually on cycle to get my evaluation. And the work that I was doing for national board, I was able to use for my evaluation. It was the same information that they were asking for. So my suggestion to teachers, all teachers, if you're on cycle to get your evaluation, you should be doing your national board too.
Do you think if it happens that way, mandatory, do you think some teachers would be grandfathered in, grandfathered?
I think so. So I think anyone that's teaching now would probably be grandfathered. Anybody that wants to become a teacher would probably have to have their national board.
Okay. I'll ask you this question. What led you to pursue both graduate studies in guidance and counseling, in addition to a master's in early childhood education?
So let me start by saying I always wanted to be a medical doctor. So when I got accepted into Howard, my major was a physician's assistant. So I was going to do my undergrad in physician's assistant and then go on to medical school. But then I realized I had to touch people. I didn't want to touch any and everybody in emergency, the medical field. I went to my advisor and changed my major to human development. because I always like to know the why behind people, what they do, how they do what they do. Guidance and counseling again, what makes people tick, and can you help people? And that was one of my questions too when I was in graduate school, was how do you help people who don't want to be helped? And the answer was, you cannot help people who do not want to be helped. Um, Early childhood education, I pursued it because I was teaching child development, and I wanted to, gain a deeper understanding of early childhood education. But what I found is that the way people act in their adulthood, is- it comes from childhood. So it just, for me, I connected the dots. And I am a certified life coach. So in working with clients, I really get to see and understand that a lot of their issues or challenges that they have, it really does come from childhood. It's my why. It's like I'm just curious about why people do what they do, why they make the decisions they make, what molded them into becoming the person that they are.
Now, as an author, I'm curious to know, has the National Board of Certification influenced your writing in any way? And if so, take us on that journey.
Well, actually, my first novel was written 30 years ago, and that happened before I even thought about becoming a teacher. So I've always had the love to write. Maybe that's what pushed me into teaching. Yeah.
That sounds great. What was your first book?
So
Novel.
my first book, titled Dead Confused, which has now become the series, the Dead Confused book series.
That's what this world is, dead confused. Okay, go. I'm
And
sorry.
and it talks about I have my main character, Charlize, and her best friend Lou. And again, it questions why. You made some decisions. Why do you make the decisions you make? What happened in your childhood to make you make certain decisions? And I take the readers on a journey of knowing people's why. What's the backstory? I take you on the backstory of Lou. Um, my editor, who is an English teacher, when she finished editing Dead Confused, she asked me she said, your characters have stories. What are the stories, about your characters? And one particular character was Karen. So I end up writing a spinoff of Dead Confused, and it was called Curiously Crazy. And that was about Karen and why Karen was the way she was. People thought she was crazy in the book, like something's really wrong with her. But then when you read Curiously Crazy, you tend to find out some things happened to her to make her act the way that she acts. And now you have a better understanding. Some of my readers feel sorry for her, and some of my readers don't. So it's just, you know, a person's perception of people's lifestyles and choices.
Yeah, we all have choices, don't we? We think. Do you talk to your students about being authors, and how do you encourage them to think of themselves as authors?
So my students know that I am an author, but I have them storytell. I have them tell stories about what they learn. So, for example, we talk about the domains of development, we talk about the stages of development, and what they have to do is create a story based on a family that they create, and they talk about raising that child in a family household and the challenges and rewards that you go through as the child, as the parent, as the extended family. And like some of the challenges could be disabilities, they could be learning disabilities, physical disabilities. So they explore all of those entities when it comes to um, talking about their experience as the family, and they do it as a group. So it's fun to watch them put the different perspectives on because one student may have, we talk about belief systems, we talk about the value system, and what is it about your family that gets them to the next level based off of your beliefs and your values.
Do you find that having your kids to write is like therapy for them to get all of this out?
Yeah, because one of the assignments that my students do also is they write an autobiography about themselves.
Okay.
And they are able to share who they are now, what made them become who they are now, and then what do they want to look like in the future. So I have them tell the story about where they were born, their family dynamics, what were their elementary school experiences like, the middle school experience, where they are now in high school, and then where do they want to be after high school? Do they want to go to college? Do they not want to go to college? Because college may not be for everyone, but what do they think? What are their plans, and what are the steps to get there?
Yeah, they need to think. That's very good. They need to think what they plan to do.
And a lot of times students just want to be handed the information. They don't want to research. They do not want to read. They just want you to tell them. And I like for them to think about it. So it's like when we talk about the domains of development, which are physical, intellectual, cognitive, emotional, and social, and language, tell me, what type of child are you raising, and how are you raising them? And are there any disabilities? If they do have disabilities, were they biological? Was it environment? Like, tell me about it. So they really have to go back and think about, okay, if my child has a disability, what disability would they have and how did they get this disability? Or you don't know how they got the disability, but what type of help are you getting for that child? What type of um, home strategies are you using when you take them to the daycare? What's your conversations like with the daycare staff? So I get them to thinking. And then sometimes we can do role playing where some of them are the daycare staff, some of them are the parent, and they have the dialogue between the two about the child. So, they really start thinking, and a lot of times they start to compare the families they have created with their real life families at home. So I find that, you know, enlightening.
I remember, of course, back in the day when I was in school, not so long ago, we had it. So when did they take this away from the kids?
It's so I teach high school. Some of my students come into high school and they know how to write in cursive, and some of them don't. So I'm not sure if it's still a part of the curriculum, but I do know quite a few students do not know how to write in cursive. So what I've done as a independent assignment throughout the year, they have to be able to write in cursive their full name by the end of the year. And one of my students, she had her learners, and she said, I didn't have to, because I was telling them, I said, when you go get your driver's license, when you take the SAT, you have to be able to sign. And one of my students showed me her learning permit, the driving permit. And on her driving permit, she had initials. They had allowed her to write three initials because she did not know how to write in cursive. Some students do not know how to print. They do not know how to write their name because they spend so much time on the Chromebooks or their phones that they don't even practice writing. So they're students that can write their names and you cannot understand the letters.
Ask you this question if you know. What about private school? What's the difference between I know private school they can put you out at any time, I believe, right? What's the difference between private and the public schools versus, the education?
I had a son that actually went to Catholic school, right? I have 4 children, and out of the 4, one went to Catholic school. During the same time, my other 2 were in public school. He just happened to get a scholarship. And the difference is the accountability.
Mhm.
It's
Mm.
accountability. That's the buzzword. In Catholic school, you have expectations, and you're held to those expectations. And you do have a choice, but if you don't meet those expectations, you won't be in that school.
So really, it's not the teachers; it's the way the system is.
It's the system, and it's about parents and teachers working
Working
together
together.
for the good of the student. So if your child is failing, first of all, you have to know you should be checking your child's grade. And everyone may not have access to the system, right? The student information system. So if you don't have access, you should at least talk to the school, talk to the guidance counselors, know who your teachers are, and send the teachers an email, just a quick email. And that's what I did with my daughter. When she was in high school, I would just send a quick email checking in, and then they was send me a quick message back. Missing assignment, um, didn't attend school, just anything, like just the communication piece, the partnership of communicating. And parents are not doing that. Parents are not doing that. A lot of times they expect teachers to do all the work, but this is your child. I've been teaching for 21 years, so I have a lot of experience and just situations that have happened. And I never forget one parent, she was upset because I didn't tell her that her child was failing. And I said, well, and this one, I was a new teacher in the very beginning. And I said, well, you have access to the schools, to School Max. And she didn't think it was her responsibility to really check School Max. And she's like, well, you know, he's 16. I just don't know what to do at this point. And I'm looking at her like, you have this one child that you're responsible for when I have 100 students. Like, how hard is it for you to check your child's grades? How hard is it for you to just sit down and have a conversation and say, let me see, pull up your grades? But you want me to, and as teachers, yeah, we can do that. However, parents gotta meet us halfway. And parents are not doing that. Parents are not doing that as a whole. There are some parents, so let me say, not all parents. There are some parents that really are involved in their child's education. There are some. But when you look at the data and you see that 50% of ninth graders have poor attendance, or, they're failing English or math, then that's not necessarily on the teacher. The parents got to take some of that accountability.
Yeah. This one teacher, no, it's counselor told me one day, a family member told me that a parent came to school, was upset because she didn't know her child was failing. And said, what can my child do to bring up this deed? And I think it was like April or May. The person was very upset. You're the parent. It's your responsibility. But then you have you have really young parents too.
Yeah, you have young parents, but you have young parents too that have really good support systems. So it's really about that internal support system that you have to help you with that child.
True. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah, so if you have the support system, but people know what's involved when you have children, or you should know what's involved. I really, so my students and I, we had this, discussion because again, I teach child development, and I feel like You need certifications to do any and all types of jobs, but you do not need a certification to have a child. You do not need a certification to raise a child. And that's one of the most important jobs on earth is raising children, but you don't need a certification for that.
Now, TC, before we wrap up, it's getting that time, getting near that time. What advice would you offer someone thinking about going through the National Board certification process? What advice?
My advice would be make sure you have the time, make sure you have the energy, and make sure you have a support system. Um, Grab a mentor because they do. I know most systems do have mentors in place to help you through the process. Utilize your resources because it can really be done. And all teachers should really explore the national board just to get the experience to see what it's like.
Okay, and like you said earlier, increase in pay because I think teachers are underpaid.
Well, so it's
Now, because teachers today they go through a lot. They go through a lot. What's going on?
I don't feel like I'm underpaid now because I do have my national board.
Well, not you per se, but there are people underpaid, teachers and other people in other professions too. Right now, but I'm just talking about teachers. Maybe not you, but some other teachers because you go through a lot.
Yeah, it is it's a lot, but is it worth it? And the answer is yes. It is.
Yes.
It's worth it, not just because of the money aspect, but because of the experience and the just the experience that you get from going through it.
I wasn't trying to make money the main thing. I'm just
Yeah.
saying there are
But it
people who
does
are
help now.
underpaid.
It does
Right,
help.
right, who are underpaid. Now, like I said, not as teachers, but other professions too. We just talked
Yeah.
about teachers. This is what the
Yeah.
topic is about today, But, but
But money
um,
does help.
but yeah, money does help. Do you have any projects coming up? I know you talk about your books, and how can viewers reach out to you if they would like to?
Yeah, all my books are sold on Amazon and online, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million. So they're out there. And my next project is the second part two of Tainted Trust, which is called Tarnished Truth. So I'm finishing up the story of Lou. And then I'm moving on to my other character, Kenny, who's Charlize's father. That's Residue Resides. So I have a lot of little projects I'm working on. Yeah.
So, anyway, people can reach you or
So I'm on social media, TC McFarland, the
okay.
author. People do reach me through there. And then my email is tcmcfarlandtheauthor@gmail. So a lot of readers, once they finish reading, they send me an email, let me know how they enjoyed the book or they still have questions because so far all three of my books are cliffhangers.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
they're cliffhangers. So it's like when you finish, you have a lot of questions at the end of the book.
That's great. I like that. I love
Yeah.
cliffhangers.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
So my
Good.
goal, I would really like to see my books make it to film.
Oh,
I
okay.
really would like to see them on film. And a lot of my readers say they can see it on film. And I've attended book clubs, and at the book clubs, they're like, I can see this person playing this. I can see this person playing, so they've already envisioned the character and the actors and the actresses who can actually play the
Oh,
roles.
great.
So I find
All
that
right.
very, yeah. So I'm excited. It's 12 books for Dead Confused, and then I have another series. I'm not going to talk about that one, but that's a doozy too. So
Well, I want to say thank you, TC. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your expertise with us today. Okay.
thank you for
Thank you so
having
much.
me. I so
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Come again.
Okay, I will.
For our viewers at home watching, if you like what you see, subscribe to The Jocelyn Moore Show. Want to be a guest on our show? Head over to our website, www.jmentertainment.info. On the homepage, click on About and follow directions to be a guest. Questions for the show. If you have any questions for today's show or past or future shows, just click contact on our website and submit a message. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care and keep watching.